I think the gaming community will remember the current era of AAA affairs as potentially the dumbest and most oblivious it's been to date. It's just a bunch of incredibly rich publishers trying to pay as little as possible to have someone develop a game for them full of other people's ideas with the highest price tag they can get away with. And as game development cycles get longer, this process has only gotten stupider because we're now at the point where blatant ripoffs of other games are coming out years after the trend that the publisher was trying to ride has ended. Hence Concord, a game that absolutely screams 2018 at me, but is launching in 2024. For $40, and has been proudly wearing the PlayStation logo on its hat since it was announced, seemingly unaware of the fact that this really isn't a great time to wear a PlayStation logo on your hat, because PlayStation hasn't done many things all that correctly the last few years. Between the overpriced games and the lack of first-party releases, and the extremely overpriced hardware, and the rising cost of multiplayer firewalls, it really seems like Sony should be trying to make nice right now with anyone who could potentially be one of their customers, but no. Instead, here's Concord. $40, please. But no matter how stupid things get in the AAA sphere, there will never be a shortage of people trying to defend their favorite corporation because that corporation published a game they liked one time back a couple of console generations ago, so now they have to defend absolutely everything that corporation does, even if the corporation is just slamming its head into a wall over and over again. They have a favorite corporation, and that corporation can never do anything wrong, nor can any other corporation ever be providing better products. It's all about logos, nothing else. And if you think I'm being too harsh, then I would love to hear your explanation as to why there were people unironically claiming the other day that Microsoft is scared of Concord. This is a real thing that people were saying. And yes, we're going to read all about what people had to say about this, because this one is a new level of stupid. Now, just to completely shut this down right out of the gate, there is zero chance Microsoft is actually afraid of this game. For starters, Concord generated no hype or excitement around its beta last week. It's believed that the pre-order numbers for Concord have been embarrassingly low due to the fact that originally beta access was going to be exclusive to the people who pre-ordered, but then just a day or two before the beta was supposed to start, PlayStation opened it up to PS Plus as well. Like, there's no reason to do that unless the pre-order firewall that you had in front of the beta was holding you back to an almost embarrassing level. And then people actually played the game, and it's at best generic. And then you look over at Microsoft's side of the multiplayer aisle, and they not only have Call of Duty and Halo and Overwatch under their umbrella, but they also have Gears of War E-Day in the pipeline, and they have a close relationship with Riot Games for Game Pass bonuses and Valorant. And the best part is all of those games minus Gears of War that I just mentioned are free to play with paid cosmetics, while Concord charges $40 at the door and also still has paid cosmetics. Ooh, Microsoft is afraid of Concord. And all this is being said after one of the most publicly humiliating betas in gaming history. Like, according to Steam charts, and I know this is just the PC, but it's still extremely telling, Helldivers 2 sold more than half of its total copies on the PC, so the Steam charts for Sony's next live service game are going to be very telling as to whether or not they, as a publisher, have inherent power in the PC market. But the Concord beta on PC peaked at less than 2,400 players. Just to put that into perspective, the main competitors to this game would be Overwatch and I guess maybe Destiny, given the history of the developers. Overwatch on Steam has some of the worst user reviews on the entire platform, and yet there are over 27,000 people online right now. That's just PC for Overwatch. Destiny also doesn't have the best reputation with its community right now, and yet Steam Charts puts Destiny at almost 70,000 concurrent players right now. I'm taking all of these Steam Chart screenshots within seconds of each other. But to really hammer it home, I want to bring up Lawbreakers. You remember Lawbreakers? It was the last paid PvP game meant to compete with Overwatch and ride the hero shooter coattails, and it was also limited to PlayStation and PC, but then it bombed spectacularly and everyone hated it. Remember how much of a flop Lawbreakers was? It was so much of a flop. Lawbreakers, man, that was such a flop of a game. Yeah, Lawbreakers still peaked on Steam at over 3 times Concord's peak. So things are not looking good for Sony right now. But let's go back to where this video started, with this thread from IconEra that made its way to my Twitter feed. Microsoft is scared of Concord. Now this on its face should be ridiculous because of all the things that I already laid out. There is no fucking shot Microsoft cares at all about Concord, because not only is Concord a total flop on its own, but Microsoft already has several of the most popular PvP shooters on the market under their umbrella. None of them are even flinching at Concord. But you'd be surprised with just how many people actually took this thread prompt seriously and 100% agreed with it. So first we'll look at some of the responses to the Twitter posting here, and then we'll clench our nostrils and go into the IconEra thread proper. At MMA Baller 13 responds and says, "I've been saying it. At Xbox P3 is terrified at Play Concord overtakes Overwatch, hence all the Microsoft shill FUD that has swarmed the game since reveal. Wisen up at PlayStation and fight. At Sony, at Herman Holst, at YSOP, at Lambert Twim, at Dave Thatch, at Rhodes Scott, at Shane the Girl, at Phil Rosenberg, at Chris Venson." Yeah, there's about a 0% chance this game overtakes Overwatch. Reminder of what Overwatch 2's Steam charts look like right now, despite the game being in a horrible place. Oh my lord, I tried Overwatch yesterday for the first time in months. It is so absolutely not fun. The fucking tank gigabuff has absolutely ruined what was left of Overwatch 1's fun factor. And yet the community is still gigantic. The community is still orders of magnitude larger than anything Concord could ever dream of. Oh, but don't worry, this Chris kid's not done. He replied to himself with this: "Stay strong at PlayStation and resilient against the Xbox shill FUD and keep persisting at Herman Holst at Sony. Fortnite at first was ill-received. Everyone said PUBG was better, etc. It didn't take off until later." Wait, so is Microsoft scared or not? Because you comparing Concord to Fortnite at launch is weird if you think Microsoft is scared. Like, if Concord was the way that you portray initial Fortnite to have been, why would Microsoft care? Because the way you're portraying initial Fortnite is dismissive and not beating the competition. So why would Microsoft be scared of a game that, by your presentation, they're already beating? It's just so weird to write like this, as if Microsoft is like beating the shit out of Sony and Sony needs to stay resilient because maybe one day they'll overcome their competition. Like, is the game good or not? Because this really sounds like you admitting defeat preemptively and then sticking with the losing team regardless for no reason. Firebreather says Microsoft is afraid of everything because they basically suck at everything and have no clue what to do. Making good games is certainly not their forte. I mean, they have the money to buy studios and IPs, but to actually build and create good games, they are actually clueless at Xbox. All of this is being said in defense of Concord, a game that was in development at a new studio, but then Sony bought the studio during development, so Concord literally exists the way that it does because Sony did the exact same thing that you're throwing shade at Microsoft for doing. It's a bad thing that Microsoft buys up studios and IP, but it's also okay that Sony bought up this studio and IP. Fascinating stuff here. But those were all just the Twitter responses, and believe it or not, things actually get worse when we go into the actual IconEra thread, so make sure you're completely shit-faced before I click the link. I'm going to click the link now. You either need to be shit-faced or shit your pants. There's no going back. So the thread is called "Microsoft is Afraid of Concord," posted by All Business, and they also say, quote, "They are releasing a new Overwatch character on the same release date as Concord 8/20/24, and they are letting people beta test the character this weekend, same as Concord beta is this weekend. Their game has 100 million players. You think they would not be worried about little old Concord, lol." Yeah, there is a 0% chance that the Overwatch team gave even a little bit of shit about Concord when planning their update schedule. I'm pretty sure this most recent Overwatch update was set in stone before Concord's beta dates were even announced. But even if your stupid version of events is canon, and Microsoft forced this latest Overwatch update to be these specific dates because they wanted to go head to head with Concord, if that actually is what happened this last week, and it resulted in this Steam chart for Concord and this Steam chart for Overwatch, If that actually is the canon storyline, then Sony might as well not even release this fucking thing. Because if that's actually fucking true, that means a fucking Overwatch patch managed to completely decimate any and all interest in this brand new game on the entire PC platform. If you are just conceding that Concord cannot stand up to Overwatch, then what are we even doing here? What is there to be grandstandy about? You're trying to be grandstandy by setting the terms of what's actually going on, but your terms of what's actually going on are arguably even more embarrassing than reality, and you don't even notice. Coco Loco says every time a PlayStation game comes out or an exclusive, there is a good tactic to try and make it not successful. This isn't the first time. From The Last of Us 2 leaks and uproar, Ghost of Tsushima, a Japanese samurai game being made by white guys, Returnal being too hard, too expensive, GT7 had it, and others, all of them had some negative press against them, whether it's forums, media, Twitter, YouTubers, etc. Oh my god, you heard it here, guys. Apparently the media is just working against PlayStation. The media hates PlayStation. They're always trying to make PlayStation fail. Also, your list of examples here is funny. Last of Us 2 leaks and uproar. Yeah, people were upset about Last of Us 2 because of very self-evident reasons. That's not an attempt to make it fail. That's them getting valid feedback. Same with here, GT7 had it. Gran Turismo 7 has one of the most fucking insulting business models I've ever seen. And I don't even play this franchise. These aren't attempts to make it not successful. This is Sony getting criticized. It's not that deep. Every time a PlayStation game comes out, there's a good tactic to make it not successful. Yeah, man, all those amazing tactics to make God of War Ragnarok and Spider-Man 2 not successful. Great work we all did, lads. Those games flopped so hard. Remember Spinal says Sony needs to reconsider putting their games on day one PC, even multiplayer. When it works, it's great, but if it starts off slow, people use it as validation to go even harder and try to bury it. The forums for this game on Steam are a mess. The same thing would happen to the next Naughty Dog game if it's day one on PC. So, let me get this straight. It's a detriment to the game when it has a bad start and people talk about the bad start. But it's also a positive thing when a game has a good start and people talk about the good start. So maybe the key here is that Sony should just release a good game from the start, and then maybe people would talk about it in a positive way, like you would want them to. Maybe Sony should just release a good game and then the Steam community would be happy to support it. And also, maybe if a game comes out and no one likes it, PC and PlayStation, because it's not like Concord's blowing up on PlayStation right now and it's just the PC guys being sticks in the mud. It's a little weird to single out the PC community for not supporting it or for dogpiling it with criticism or whatever. It's a little weird for you to single out the PC community for doing that. Oh, the Steam forums for this game are a mess. Yeah, because it's a product nobody wants. That has nothing to do with Sony specifically. It wasn't that long ago that Steam forums for games like Payday 3 and Overwatch 2 were a mess as well, and IconEra didn't seem to care about that. But now, the Steam forums are dunking on Concord, and suddenly we need to stop putting games on PC on day one altogether, because PC games didn't support a shit product no one asked for. But maybe if Sony just put out a good fucking game, PC gamers would be happy to support it, as evidenced by the many games that Sony has made bank on Steam with. Concord is not a desirable product, and you just can't handle that for some reason. It's absolutely anyone's fault except Sony's somehow. Murasar responds and says, agree completely, especially when people are obsessed with Steam numbers and charts. Keep those games as a service games away from the PC crowd until they have matured. Ah yes, the PC community is not mature enough for Concord. Your circle of the internet is just openly throwing away the idea of consumer rights and pro-consumerism and not sucking off the mega corporation who doesn't care about you. But the PC gamers? No, those guys are the immature ones. The PC gamers are criticizing a thing and not buying it, and that's because they're just not mature. They need to buy the thing because we said they should. We are the mature ones, yes. God, it's like a Sony executive walks up to you and hands you a ping pong paddle and tells you to spank yourself with it, and you do it, and then you get upset with other people for thinking it's weird that you actually did the thing. Like, you know you don't have to do this. Right? You don't have to suck off Sony so publicly. You don't have to give Sony money for products that you might not want. This is so weird. Why are you people like this? Okay, one more. Ethomaz says, unless they had a big comeback with the last update, Overwatch 2 is basically dead. Its free-to-play design is fucking abusive. Concord has nothing to worry about here. Overwatch is nowhere near dead. You can just look at the Steam charts, and it's near the top of both the Xbox Live charts and the PSN charts, so I'm not sure why we're still doing the whole Overwatch is dead thing. But also, I like how you say Overwatch's free-to-play design is bad, which it 100% is. I'm not disagreeing with you at all there. But frankly, I'm not sure how Overwatch's business model is worse than Concord's. And I'm being dead serious about that. Concord is charging you $40 for less base gameplay content than Overwatch gives you for free. Overwatch then charges you for cosmetic content and for quicker unlock paths to the new heroes. You can grind gameplay to unlock new heroes, or you can just pay to get instant access to them. Concord charges you a $40 admission fee and then charges you for additional cosmetic content. Like, bare minimum, Concord is charging you $40 for what Overwatch is giving you for free. And you can absolutely hate on Overwatch's microtransaction model all you want. I cannot stand the Overwatch 2 business model. But at the end of the day, Overwatch isn't making you pay for it. Concord is, and it's giving you less for your $40 than Overwatch gives you for $0. All that to say, it's just not a very strong argument. I think what's so funny about the Concord thing is it's going to basically be the exact same thing as Redfall last year. Last year, Redfall was a gigantic piece of shit. Nobody wanted to support it. Most of the Xbox dudes didn't want to support it, the same way that most of the PlayStation dudes don't want to support Concord. But you had the brand-obsessed people coming out and being like, guys, you just don't get it. Redfall's an amazing game. You're just not seeing it. That's literally what you guys are doing for Concord now. Nobody wants it. Nobody is interested in it, and it has so many problems with the business model. There's so, like, you could just look the other way and be like, nah, we're not supporting that one. Yeah, we're not perfect. But instead, you guys are saying not only is Concord amazing and awesome and mind-blowing, but also Microsoft is scared of it. All of you people who made fun of the Xbox dudes for defending Redfall, if you're defending Concord now, I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't. This is your Redfall. Just own it and move on. Jesus. Okay, toodles.